All right. Hello, everybody. We are joking here, but we are already live here with John. It's funny. Internet marketing freaks. My name is Maros Feher, Triathlon Freak, and with me here again, John Philip and John Curtis. So that's the way how I know which John I talk to. So John Philip and John Curtis, because both are Johns. And today it's a very interesting topic we are going to talk about. It's about niche marketing, and it's something that is actually very basic when doing internet marketing. And I can say something about myself before we dig into niche marketing deeper into this topic. I actually had difficulties a couple of years ago because I didn't know what I'm into actually. I was doing internet marketing. I was actually looking for some ways of presenting my ideas maybe, or looking for business opportunities, and I didn't know what I like actually, why I should join a certain business opportunity. I wasn't sure about it, and when I started to think about it, I immediately knew that the problem I have is that I don't know what is my niche. I don't know what is my group of people that I kind of feel be part of, and that's something you actually have to start think about before you do internet marketing, because you really need to know yourself in your passion and what you love before you can have any results in internet marketing. There are some marketers out there that are very successful, and excuse me, both Johns may know them, who are actually members of the company we are working with, and these guys are into niche of let's say solo ads. They just do solo ads, so it's also something you may choose to do, but then you really have to think about before doing that if if you stick to it and if this is something you love doing. Because the problem is with niche marketing that you can choose anything you want to do, or you can choose any group of people you want to market to, but if you don't like what you do, there will be a day when you may actually start hating what you're doing, just because whatever you market about is not something you like or you love. So um, we were talking about this concept before we started this hangout with John Philip. He was talking to me about his passion, because he knows what he loves, but he wasn't sure if this is something he should be doing. And then uh, John Curtis joined these hangouts. It wasn't live yet, and he was so pumped up about his niche. So um, and I clearly saw, how excited he was, how exciting he's going to be today to talk about his niche, about his marketing, because this is something that's so crucial that whatever you do, you should make sure that you love whatever you do, whatever topic you write about, or whatever market you choose, because as I said before, it's for the long term. We are here for the long term, and that's what makes the difference. We are not here to tell you that you are going to make money in couple of weeks, or even a month or 2 months. There are people here who work with us um, who are here for the long term, and it can mean that you will struggle for a long time. Actually, the leader of this company we are all working with, has been struggling for 7 years. For 7 years, if you can imagine somebody struggling for 7 years until you find kind of a solution, maybe, let's put it that way. And then it makes a big difference. You can struggle for 7 years, and then hit a home run and make a lot of money just because you know how things work. Or you can stay around for 6 months. You don't have to struggle for 7 years, of course, because we know some shortcuts. We know what works and what doesn't work, and we want to share with you all this knowledge. So I guess before I tell you something more about my niche, I would really love to hear about John Curtis, because he's really excited and pumped up. I don't know, John, if you want to start now or later during this hangout.
I mean, I am pumped up, and I actually have a couple things to say that would actually probably be good to say in the beginning, if you don't mind. I don't mind starting now.
Okay, let's do it because I can't be on the hangout for a very long time. I mean, talking just because my flatmate is asleep. Probably she's already awake now, so I just keep quiet now. So I let
Yeah,
you talk now.
on one hand, you have a roommate that you have to be quiet at this time, but on the other hand, how awesome is it again that we get to be on this hangout, right, across the world, and talking about things that are going to obviously get us where we want to be. So this is an awesome thing.
Sure.
So
I live in just for anybody who's watching. I live in Germany, so it's like 1 a.m. in the morning here, and for you guys it's like 7 p.m. right? So
You
um,
should just tell your friend to join. Yeah.
got
oh
got got all kinds of company visiting all over. We've been masterminding the last few days. And this is really awesome because we've been talking about this the last 2 days. We've been talking about a niche, right? So my name's John Curtis, and I'm known as the West Coast Dog Trainer, and I am a dog trainer. I specialize in behavior modification. I've been doing this for a little over 20 years, and I've learned quite a few things in 20 years. I do a lot more than teach dogs tricks. So besides that, though, we're talking about niches here, and you have to be able to pick a niche, right? You want to be able to pick something that's going to be able to benefit you. And a lot of people, when they get involved in marketing, whatever it is that they're marketing, they try to decide on something to market. So I want to talk about that real quick. The process of actually choosing a niche, the process of actually deciding on what you're good at, right? So you have a bunch of different values and a bunch of different things that you've learned over the years, right? And then you get involved in an area of marketing that you have to have a niche. Now you're trying to take all of these different things that you've learned and acquired over the years. You're good at this and you're good at this, but these two things are kind of a little bit far apart. So where do you meet in the middle? You have to understand that no matter what you're talking about, there's a process of development. So whatever stage you're in right now in your life, whatever you are participating in right now in your life, whatever activities, whatever you're thinking of, whatever you're doing and spending time on, this is something that you need to focus on building, right? So you pick a niche, you pick something that you're doing currently, and then as you're developing that niche, it will transform and change into a specialty. For example, my niche people think is dogs. That's not my niche. I specialize in behavior modification. My niche is behavior modification. That's my niche. But people, they don't necessarily see that, but that's okay because, again, we're talking about how do you pick your niche, right? So you're, again, going to be really good at different things. You've acquired a lot of different talents over time. So a lot of things that I want to bring to your attention, there's two really important things I want to bring to your attention. Number one is you really don't get to pick a niche. You really don't get to pick something when you're first starting to develop your future, right? You have a business now, you're marketing your business. Just like if somebody were to get pregnant, it takes 9 months for that baby to come out. There's 3 trimesters, and the reason they call them trimesters is because they take that 9 months, they break that 9 months into 3 parts. So each part is a developmental stage, okay? And if you don't go through that developmental stage, you don't get to the next part, right? And so there's no niche, there's no baby without development, right? So I just want to touch base on that. So you need to develop yourself because a lot of people come into this business and they're so overwhelmed by like, what's my niche? I need to have a niche. They're telling me I need to have a niche. Well, I don't want to have a niche because I'm good at this and I'm good at this and I'm good at this. Well, imagine if you had a business. What are you going to call your business? The A to Z store? Because you're selling everything from A to Z? Or your products are everything? Are you going to call it the everything store? you're going to have a name for it. Like Toys R Us's niche is toys, right? But they have a lot of other things. They sell computers. They sell a lot of other things, right? Because over time they've developed, right, into this opportunity or whatever you want to call Toys R Us. So Toys R Us is, their niche is toys. My niche is dogs, right? But you are going to pick whatever niche that you are currently involved in. If you're into athletics, okay, like Maros is a triathlon. How awesome is that, right? So you need to market towards your niche, and Maros is marketing towards his niche, and not only is he marketing towards his niche, he's at a stage now where he's actually fine-tuning that niche because he's developed enough of where he knows he wants to be, right? But now you have to understand that you might be at the beginning stages of your business. You might not necessarily understand what your niche is. What are you good at? Well, look at everything that you've been good at. I have a lady on my team that discovered that she's really good at ads. She writes tremendous ads, small little articles that gets really high engagement. So that's a talent, right? So she's actually discovering other talents that she has just taken for granted, per se, because she hasn't really looked at all of the different things and understood that she needs to funnel it, because you want to take all of your efforts, right, all of the things that you've learned over time, and you want to funnel it so that you can come out with what? One niche of expertise that you can then take and develop, right, and then fine-tune and transform into whatever it is that you're going to be. Because what we're talking about is to be part of an opportunity where you bring your values here. You market your values. You get all of your talents and all of your goals and all of your businesses and all of your ideas, and you funnel it in a way that is going to enable you to what? Fine-tune your skills. Fine-tune your skills. Not only fine-tune your skills and fine-tune your niche, discover things about you that you didn't even realize before, maybe things that you've taken for granted, right? And then you're going to also be able to profit from learning. Now, what school do you know of that pays you to learn if you do good? I don't know any schools that pay. So the opportunity that we're talking about right now is a gift. It is a gift. The only thing is that it's not wrapped in a pretty little bow for you. It's hidden in the corner. And it doesn't, it's like newspaper it's got wrapped around it. And it's old newspaper. And it's not even a message, no bow, no colors, no nothing. But if you see it, if you see the opportunity, you're going to go over there and you're going to critically think about it. What is that? What is it? Let me see. And you're going to open it up and you're going to see, wow, it's me. It's me. It's what I want. And it's directions on how to achieve what I want. Because nobody else around you saw that gift. Nobody else around you saw that which you opened your eyes on. So now, again, we're walking, you're developing your business right now, you have a bunch of different talents, right? You need to just close your eyes and see that gift, see that opportunity, right? And then funnel everything to one thing that you're doing on a constant basis, okay? Whatever it is that you're doing on a constant basis, if you're an artist and you draw, your niche would be drawing, and then you can, again, fine-tune and build off of that niche. But if you're confused, if you spend months and months and months talking about too many different things, then nobody's going to know what it is to come to you for. They're going to be confused on when they're thinking about, when people want to know about dogs, they think of me. If they've dealt with me, or if they've heard about me, right? And a lot of people think about me. When somebody's thinking about learning about what do triathlons have to even maybe eat, what is involved in a diet of a triathlon, I would think of Maros, right? And I would say, I'm trying to train for this, or I'm trying to do this, and I would try to get advice. But if you don't have somebody that you can look to when you think of something, then you have to figure out whatever you have to figure out. But wouldn't you like to be the person that somebody thinks about because they know what you are bringing to the table? They know what your business is about. They know what your specialties are. Because if you don't know what your capabilities are, how am I supposed to know? How are you supposed to make me believe that you know what you're talking about if you don't necessarily know what it exactly is you're talking about? If you're talking about spaghetti one day, and then you're talking, or food, how to cook food one day, and then you're talking about a great book that you've learned a lesson in, you're doing great things, but you don't have a niche. You're just sharing your diary. You're just sharing your diary. And that's not a bad thing. But what are we in this for? We're in this to be intelligent. We're in this to critically think about what we're doing so that we can develop a niche, develop an expertise, an area of expertise that we can give you information to help better your life, right? To get you to where you want to be, to get you to where we are, to get you to this opportunity right now. Because this is the opportunity that you can bring your value in. This is the opportunity that you can just continue to do what you're doing. Not only continue to do it, get trained and get taught on how to do it better, more efficiently, and to teach other people how to do it, right? And to profit from it. Now, do I have to twist your arm?
You
I don't
twisted
think
mine already. I'm sold.
There's nothing you even sell. That's the thing. There's nothing to sell. If you are walking over, if you're stepping over a box to look at a box, you're silly. If you're stepping over a $10,000 bill to get the dollar, or if you're stepping over a gold coin to get the $10 bill, then you are not looking at the proper things. You're wandering around. You don't know what your talents are. You don't know what your gifts are. You can't teach anybody anything because you're missing the gift yourself. You're missing the opportunity to understand your value, because that's what this is. I love dogs. We created a nonprofit organization to change the whole industry of dogs. God willing, we start out with giving them food, emergency food assistance across the nation, and then we will go into free veterinary care, free health care, free knowledge and training about people who don't understand, because I would love to teach everybody how to train dogs for free, and a lot of people I do train dogs for free because of this opportunity. Because I'm involved in this opportunity right now, Maros, I believe everybody can click the opportunity below the picture, right? So if we invited you here, this is the opportunity. This is what I did. This is what we did. And we discovered you don't know you're going to see a rainbow until after you discover it's been raining. You don't look for a rainbow until after it's been raining. You might see a rainbow without expecting to see one, but that's because your vision is there. It's open. It's willing to accept. A lot of people don't even see that rainbow if it's not raining because they don't even think of it. You're listening to the words coming out of my mouth right now. You're not thinking about the feelings at the bottoms of your feet, but now you are. And the reason why is because I brought it to your attention, and you're willing to accept that information. And that's all we're talking about. So we were here, and we clicked on this opportunity, and we developed our niche. When I first started the business, I got overwhelmed about what my value was. I never even talked about dogs. I never even talked about dogs. I talked about, oh, look at this opportunity, and look at this opportunity, and look at it. There's no opportunities if you only look at an opportunity for an opportunity. If you don't take advantage of the opportunity, then it was never an opportunity to begin with. If you're struggling to stay somewhere and somebody lets you stay in their house and you do nothing while you're in their house, you don't better your own life while you're in their house, then you are doing nothing. You're wasting time. You need to take advantage of that opportunity, because you never know when you're not going to have that opportunity again. And so when somebody teaches you something, no matter what it is, if you want to learn it and you absorb it and you appreciate it, then you'll remember and you'll think of that person. Like I said, if somebody wants to think about training their dog, they call me. If somebody wants to think about whatever they're thinking about, they'll call the person that they know that does that niche or that is confident in their ability to give you value on that information. And so that's all I really wanted to get the point across. The reason why I wanted to go first is because a lot of people don't even understand their niche is not something that they get to choose. It's something they're already doing in this world. Because this business is you. This business is your value. You don't have value if you start talking about things that are not in your everyday life. There's no value in that. If we're having a conversation about anything, there's not value in that until after we've learned the lesson. And that's the point. So your niche, you already know it. It's what you're doing now. It's what you're doing currently. It's what you're doing on a daily basis. It's the information you're able to share with people. It's the value you're able to share with people. What have you been doing your entire life that you care about? Because everybody wants to know, and we have a platform for you to be able to use to get the word out to the right people, to help everybody, because not only will you learn how to fine-tune your niche, you're going to help people discover things about themselves they never knew existed, which is going to in turn spread like a disease of goodness. It's going to spread because people are going to smile now and be happy to wake up and be happy to share their value. Because before, do you know how many Einsteins are sitting on the couch right now? Do you know how many Einsteins are sitting on the couch right now? Because why? Because for two reasons. Number one, they don't know that they have the value, or they don't appreciate that they have the value. That's the only two things. And then the other thing might be that they don't necessarily have a platform or know of a platform, which is now it's here. So now if you're listening to this, it's your obligation to tell people about this platform, and I'll tell you why it's your obligation. Even if this is not for you, which I don't see how this would not be for you, okay? It doesn't matter what you're doing. This is not about making money. This is about helping people. This is about helping your neighbor, helping the people down the street, helping your family and friends across the world, in Germany. Well, I mean, come on, right? It doesn't matter. It's about helping, because all of our information stays there. It doesn't matter. It stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. If you have a free blog or if you have a free website, they can take that information down at any point in time, and then it's not there anymore, and then you lose it, and then where's the value? If somebody's looking for that information, or if somebody needs to hear it, sometimes people need to hear things from you. But if you're sitting on the couch and you're not sharing your value, then you're doing an injustice not only to yourself, but to your fellow man. And that's the truth right there. You know, and I hope I'm not taking up too much time. I'm almost done here, but I just want you to understand that this is not a vitamin company. This is not, we're not sitting here trying to tell you that this is something that you need, and I'll tell you why you need it, because you're going to live a long, healthy life. No, this is an opportunity to take what you're doing, the good you're doing in this world, and just throw it out there 100-fold, man. Pay it forward and help other people to spread their value. Because if everybody gave to give, right? If everybody gave to give and everybody helped to help, then nobody would be asking for help. Nobody would need help. Nobody would be hungry. No organizations out there that are justful, rightful organizations would be struggling out there, because they would have support from people who have the ability. Now, how many people out there are sitting there going, I wish I can help. I wish I can donate some money to those kids. I wish I can buy an extra box of Girl Scout cookies this time around. I wish I can do all these things. Well, you can wish in one hand, and then you can do something with the other hand, and the one you're doing something with is going to stay busier, and you have an opportunity to do something, and it's involved your value, it's involved your niche, it's involved your abilities, and share it. with people like us. I did not know John. I did not know Maros. I did not know a lot of the people that I know today and have lifelong relationships with now because of sharing our value, and we're profiting on top of it. So if you don't know your niche, that's not the problem because you know your value. You know what you've learned, and you're going to fine-tune your niche, and we're going to help you do it. So that's it. The opportunity's here. There's no reason to wait anymore. So these guys are going to talk now, and if if you have to think about anything more, just listen to these guys because I'm telling you, you're going to hear some stuff right now to make you open and expand your mind on where it is that you are in life because you're a lot further ahead than you thought. You're a lot further ahead, and you're a lot more capable than you thought, and your values are worth a lot more than you thought. And we're going to show you right now, we're going to tell you right now how you can share your values with everybody. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe. It was just fantastic what you just shared with us. I really enjoyed it, and I was smiling along the way. As I was listening because you took us through some concepts and even my own story because you kind of remembered me how I started. I think it was a year ago or something when I wasn't really sure what is my niche, what I love to do. What is actually something I want to spend my more time with, and I realized that my life is just about going to work, going home, and maybe training as well. But that was all actually. It was nothing that was kind of inspiring me on an everyday basis. Something I could share with more people than just my friends I meet at the gym. And then when I joined this company, I realized how much I can do, and what happened, I started to blog about my niche, and it developed into kind of a passion for writing as well, because I really like writing about my passion, and specifically about triathlon and for triathletes. But what also happened is that I developed this courage to not just write about it, but also make videos and also make this hangout. This hangout actually is also the result of me being part of this community. All three of us are at the moment, and it just helped me in so many different ways to be more than what I was before. So that is something that also is just incredible. So for anybody who's watching this, maybe it's difficult to understand because it's only me who understands the process I went through and the transformation. I can't go into details, and you will never feel this the same what I felt before, but it's just very, very powerful. But what I want to do now is also maybe give word to John Philip, because John Philip was talking about he's not sure about the niche he's maybe into. So maybe if you, John Philip, if you have any questions for us, because I more or less know what I'm into, John Curtis also, and you are kind of maybe thinking, or maybe this, maybe that. So if you kind of play somebody for us who is not having any passion or any niche, or is kind of he can't decide what to do, what would be, what kind of questions we would have?
Yeah, well, I've got tons of questions. I'd like to first kind of jump off of some of the things that John Curtis talked about, and also just because he's really passionate in talking about getting people fired up about this business, about sharing their passions with the world. That's what we really are here to talk about, and we're here about. And I like the analogy that he used about developing your niche as kind of like a process akin to pregnancy and giving birth. And if you guys are probably in like the third trimester, I guess I would put myself in the first trimester. And I think there's probably other folks out there like me, and I'll just tell you something right now. First of all, You don't need to be a triathlon freak to join. You don't need to be able to run, because that's Marosh's niche. That's Marosh's thing, and he's really good at it. I I can barely run 2 miles, and I know that if I trained and if I really listen to some of the advice that Marosh gives me, I get better at it. But that's not my thing, and that's his thing. But the other thing I wanted to say is you don't have to know your niche to get involved. So if you're out there and you're wondering, like, well, I'm curious to see what this is all about. I want to click that button, but I don't really know what my niche is. How can I start if I don't know that? It will come to you. It will develop. There's so many empowering experiences like this that you'll have talking with other people on Hangouts. It could be your books that you read that people introduce you to, and other videos. And I wanted to share with you something before I get into my questions. Just something that John C. mentioned about the rainbow. You can't see the rainbow until you know it's been raining. That's so good, and it reminds me of something that I heard recently from a guy I've been just reading a lot about and listening to Wayne Dyer a lot recently. And he says he has this really, really powerful quote. He says a lot of amazing things, but he's this one really powerful quote that goes like this. He says, and just listen real closely. Don't get confused by the words. Just listen to what it's saying, and that is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, it might seem like just a simple twist of words, but really, it's exactly what John Curtis was talking about with the rainbow. When you start to, you might be looking at this right now, for example, and thinking, well, I don't see myself in it. But change the way you look at something. Try to see yourself in a different way. Try to see what other people are doing, and try to ask questions and learn something about it, and change the way you look at it, and you'll see it in a different light also. So yeah, boy, I just took tons of notes there. John Curtis, I was loving it. One thing I would say for those of you also really trying to discover and find your niche is that, like John C. says, you're not going to find it. You already have it. You already have it. And furthermore, you can bring it out in yourself. You can bring it out of yourself by doing a few little exercises. Something I blogged about recently is doing a Pomodoro exercise. And I kind of twisted a little bit, sort of adjusted it for my purposes. But I think it's really more like a 25. It's a way of sectioning off your time in 25 minutes. But I did like sort of a rush sort of activity where I just put a timer on my phone for 2 minutes, took out a pen and a paper, and just wrote as fast as I could, as many things as I could, about those things that I'm interested in, about those things that I'm really passionate about. That's something you could do. And it also, I wanted to comment about something John said, is that, this idea that you've got to do something or talk about something that you're doing currently, that's very important, because like Marosh said too, if you're not passionate about it, if you don't love it, then you're gonna come someday. It's gonna come to saying like, I don't like blogging about ham anymore. Like, I never did like it anyways. I just so you really want it, because you know what, we love what we do. Okay, we're not just talking. We love this. We love what we do. John loves working with dogs and people and their dogs. Marosh loves training for triathlon. I had the great honor of actually running with him in Las Vegas last month. That was a thrill. And I love what I do. I mean, I get to stay at home and work on networking with people and connecting with people and spending more time with my family. You know, it's great. So we really love what we do, but we do because we chose to talk about something that we are passionate about. Now, one thing I want to say about that, though, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be something you're doing right now, because our life takes us down many paths and on journeys, forks in the road, where you might end up doing something that you just totally hate. You know, you might be working a job that's just a dead-end job, and you know, at one point you thought you might like it, you know, so you got into it, and then you realize this is just not me. And so there's that other thing that you've done in the past that you've always loved. And we did that visualization last week, where you try to picture that thing again. Try to remember those things that you've done that just filled you with life, filled you with, you know, with that feeling of being alive again. So it's not necessarily something you're doing at this moment or these days. It could be something that you did back in high school, college. You know, maybe maybe you played baseball for a little while and you thought it was great, but you didn't have time for it after that. Might be that you get back into it, and when you do get back into it, you reconnect with it, being inspired, and being in spirit, you'll find that your talents come out again. Your talents re-emerge, and you'll find that you can do things and you're capable of things that you never thought were possible, or you convinced yourself that you couldn't do. But if you reconnect with those things from your past, possibly that you you loved when you did them the first time, reconnect with those things, and you'll be inspired, and you'll learn something new about yourself. You'll learn that you are capable of new and great things. So back to me. You know, hopefully some of you guys who are new to this can learn a little bit from my experience, you know, because as I did mention, I'm probably in more of the first trimester of all this, you know, understanding what my niche is. And so I have a couple of questions for these guys. You know, one of the things that I really think about as I'm developing my niche is, you know, what do I want to talk about with people? You know, it's not just necessarily what do I enjoy doing, but what is it that I want to talk about with people? What I want to share with people. So I want to ask you guys that. How did you figure out? I mean, I know you guys like, you know, you like dogs, you like training, you like training for triathlons. How is it that I mean, did you think about that when you know, or how did you process that when you decided I'm going to start telling people about this, you know? John, you want to go first?
Yeah,
Go
actually, I was trying to push my mute button to get in there. That's a really good question, and you might think that it was actually really hard because I was trying too hard. Let me touch base on that really quick. I found a platform that enabled me to be able to really use and make money because I was struggling in my business, right? And so I needed to get the word out, right? And so that's why I got into this to begin with. But when I got into it, I wasn't focused on sharing my business. I was focused on making money so I can build my business. Okay? All of a sudden, by talking to the right people as far as mentors, now people that are producing as far as results that you want to achieve, whatever results you want to achieve, okay, you need to listen and take advice from people that are achieving those results. Okay? If you're listening to somebody that is not producing the way that you want to produce, then you shouldn't be listening to them. You should not be taking advice from them. And it's not because you don't care about them. It's because they don't have anything that they can really tell you to get ahead from where they're already at. Okay? So back to when I was talking to these people, they said, "John, what do you care about?" I says, "Well, I care about dogs." And then they said, so then why are you not talking about dogs? And then it dawned on me. They just said talking. Listen to the word I used. Talking. They didn't say specifically what to say. Right? So I said, okay, fine. So I started to talk about dogs, and then it developed, like I said before, it developed, right? I fine-tuned it into what am I going to talk about dogs? Because I can do things with dogs, but how am I going to talk about it in a way that you're going to be interested in it? Well, I can only get better at that, you know? So that's not a big deal. So I don't need to concentrate on that, because just like the second year of school or the third year of school or whatever, you continually get better, right? So if you're focused on like I need to be the best right now, you're never going to be good enough. So don't even worry about it. You know, forget that. Stop focusing on that. What you need to focus on is just to start talking about what it is you care about. When you start talking about what it is that you care about, you're going to start talking about what it is that you truly care about what you care about. Did you follow that? When you start talking about what you care about, you're going to start to talk about what you care about. So you're going to fine tune it. So your niche is going to develop, which is again what we talked about. You're not going to pick your niche. You're not going to say, I'm good at mechanics, so I'm going to talk about how to build a motor. You're forcing. Let me say one more thing. If you have to push your way through air, if the air is blowing, if the wind is blowing in this direction and you're going straight towards the wind, it's going to take a long time to get through it, and you're going to have to fight the whole way, and you're going to have bruises along the way. You might make it. You might make it. But if the wind is blowing behind you and gently pushing you forward, then you don't have to put any effort into that. And that's what I mean by your niche developing if you just start talking about what you care about. So that's all I wanted to say about that. So that's when you start talking about what you care about, John, and everybody, when they start talking about what they care about, they'll develop their niche, their specialty, right? And then they'll start to talk about that specialty, because why? Because that's where the value is. But you don't know your value until you start to share it, right? So there's a million Einsteins on the couch, just like I said a minute ago, right? So they need to share their value, right? Everybody needs to share their value. Even if you don't want to make any money, and even if you don't want to have a business, you have value that people need to know. They want to know about that stuff. And if you start to share with people that stuff, you would be surprised at how much you get back. You get that much more education back. You get that much more of a benefit back, man. Trust me, it comes back tenfold. Doesn't matter what you're giving. It comes back tenfold. So if you're not giving, if you're not sharing, if you're looking for that quick dollar, if you're going, I'll tell you, but you need to give me money, or if you're not sharing that information, then you don't have any value. You don't have a niche. You don't have anything that anybody wants. You might think that they want it. You might be making a little bit of money, but you're stepping over $10,000 to get the dollar. Like Tracy Walker said that. You're stepping over a $10,000 bill to pick up a $1 bill. Because why? Because you don't know what a $10,000 bill looks like, so you don't even think it's real, right? So your value is what we're talking about here. Your niche will be developed if you start talking and sharing and giving what it is that you do on a daily basis in your life. So,
Awesome. Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
answers your.
Totally. And I want to jump in there and talk a little bit. No, it's like light bulbs going on in my head now. So, but I want to jump in there and talk a little bit about, somebody recently asked me, well, who's really going to care about that? I have an idea. I have this idea, and I'm not going to share it with you just yet, because when I do, it's going to be a special time. But I've been working on this idea, and I've been talking with some people close to me about it, in my family, and I got the question, well, who's going to want to see that, or who's going to want to know about that? And I thought, Yeah, you might be right about that, but let's do the math. Okay, let's do the math. There's something like, you guys can correct me on this, there's 1.2 billion people on Facebook these days. Okay? Like actively on Facebook. Now, let's say that really, a lot of those people aren't so active, and, you know, maybe they're not really in speaking your language even, or whatever. Like, let's pare it down to say like 200 million, okay? A nice round number, 200 million. Okay. And a lot of times when businesses develop their business plan, they think about how much of that market can I affect or reach or influence. Now, let's think of if you could influence or if you could reach 1% of that 200 million, just 1%. That's 1% of 200 million is 2 million. Okay? Now let's say that 2 million of those people are interested in your idea, your kind of idea. Like if they see it, if they see your dog training, for example, they're going to be like, oh, there's a guy dog training. They're going to be interested in it. That's 2 million people, right? But let's say that just 10% of those people are interested in you and your idea. Okay? So now we're talking 200,000 people. So we're paring it down, and we're doing this conservatively, right? Like, and this is talking about the abundance here, okay? The abundance of people with interest. Now, that's 200,000 people. Now, let's go take 10% of that again. So here we're talking about 0.0001% of the total market. That's all you got to hit. That's 2,000 people. 2,000 people. So I got this great, I don't know if you guys seen on my Facebook, there's this great picture of this boy playing a flute. And there's nobody around except for a cat listening. And he said, and the quote says, don't worry about how big your audience is, just keep playing your best. Something like that. Just keep doing your best and putting your message out there. So you can look at it from any angle, from, just, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put my message out there because it brings me joy, and I know I'm going to connect with somebody. But you can also take it from a mathematical, if that's how your mind works, take it from a mathematical standpoint. Out of 200 million people, you're bound to connect with a couple handful at least to begin with, right? And then from there you start building. So don't worry about whether you have value to share, because yes, of course, if you share yourself, you do have value to share. There are people out there that are itching to hear it. They want to hear it. So yeah, this is that was good to hear from me though too, to talk about what I care about. I think I've got my blog idea for the day too, even from that. So that was awesome, John.
Real quick, I just wanted to also point out something, because your numbers not only being extremely conservative, but I wanted to touch base real quick because, and I'll speak about myself, being a dog trainer. Okay, I've learned about not only dogs but animals, right? Not only animals but diseases, right? Not only diseases but bugs, maybe fleas, different things, right? So I have a lot of advice towards people that don't even have dogs. So my niche, actually, if you think about it, everybody's niche will do this, because I'm not only after dog trainers. I mean, people that want to train their dogs or people that have dogs. I can be after people who are thinking about getting a dog, people who have friends that have dogs, right? So everybody knows somebody with a dog. So how do you act with a dog? Why does your friend's dog do these things, right? So what your niche is, right? You don't have to be a triathlon to learn about things that a triathlon would know, because maybe you would benefit from some of the dieting or from some of the exercise or from some of the things that a triathlon does on a regular basis. So his niche, Moros's niche, right, is not necessarily only focused on people who are doing and competing in triathlons, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't even exercise that are interested in, well, not necessarily, well, yeah, maybe not even exercise, that are interested in some of the things that he has to say. So the point is that your value, right, like you mentioned a second ago, concentrate and focus on that, because your niche will develop and you don't even know what it is. You don't even know truly what it is, because you're looking at these small percentage of people that's in front of your face that are obvious in your market. You're not even realizing, not you, but everybody, nobody's realizing that there are 100 times that many people that they're not even thinking about in different areas, right, that are included in their niche. So you're not necessarily reaching a target audience. You want to know who your target audience is, but you're going to develop, right, and fine tune, and your target audience is actually going to go like this, and it's going to grow, and your 200,000 people are going to turn into 2 million people, because you're going to see things that all those other 800,000 people are going to be involved in now, because you're discovering you have that much more value, all because you started to share your value.
All right, fantastic, guys, fantastic. I mean, this is going to be a really long hangout. So, and I'm sure John Philip has got more questions. So, I just suggest that we just quit now, because it's almost an hour now, and I know some people love watching long hangouts, but some people have some responsibilities. So if you guys don't mind, I would like to continue next week again about the niche, because there's so much we can talk about. So many things that has to do with niche marketing. So. Is it okay, guys, if you just stop now and continue next week? Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe
cool. Yeah.
excellent, excellent. So maybe also if John will maybe prepare some questions, maybe one or two. Maybe I will have some questions for John Curtis also, because he he knows what he's talking about. So we kind of help each other. So if I have a question, I can ask him now, or maybe even John Philip. So we kind of exchange ideas, and in this way we can help each other to move forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think next week, or sorry if I may interrupt, I think next week I might start to start to talk about more about what I care about, and talk about my niche, and share with you that special little idea that I have. So I'll be more ready next week, and so join us for that for sure. Yeah.
excellent. It's nice, because it's becoming to be kind of a story, and you know, like a story of you developing your niche. So I'm really excited about it. So looking forward to that one. And okay, guys, again, thanks again for excellent hangout. And anybody who's interested in, yeah, thank you, John Curtis. Anybody who's interested in learning more, and maybe joining this unusual business opportunity we have here, just go to the link below. There is a button, yes, let me in, and check it out. If you have any questions, just come back to us. John Curtis, John Philip, there is his page, I believe, in his tagline, and my name is here as well. So just come back to us on Facebook. You can find me. That would be the best way to connect with me. All right, guys, thanks again, and see you next week. Ciao, ciao.